Today I'm checking out another mid-range handheld console that you can get right now for about 100 euros. This is the Kinhank K56. Wait, no, actually that's not it. Here's the real K56, and this one is the Mangmi Air X. They look so similar that it's super easy to mix them up. This console is a great example of how you can replace your old PSP and play your favorite games with better graphics. The console has an ergonomic design, a good display, and runs Android 14, just like other devices in this price range. It's also powerful enough to run some PlayStation 2, GameCube, and even Nintendo Switch games. But how well does it actually handle those? Let's find out. I've been using this console for an entire week, and I'm ready to share my impressions with you. But first, let's take a look at the main specs. The K56 runs on the Unisoc T620 processor, a budget-friendly octa-core chip that's good enough for most retro games. Graphics are handled by the Mali G57 GPU. It comes with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, which is a big plus compared to its competitors. And of course, you can always expand it with a microSD card. The console features a 5.5-inch Full HD IPS touchscreen display, which makes navigation smooth and intuitive. It also packs a standard 5000 mAh battery, typical for devices in this class. You get built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and for charging, there's a USB Type-C port right next to a headphone jack. In terms of size, the K56 is noticeably larger than the Mangmi Air X. I definitely wouldn't call it pocket-friendly. What really surprised me, though, is that the console does not have active cooling. I think a small fan would have been a great addition, because the processor struggles a bit in heavier games. There are some decorative bands on the back, but honestly, they don't seem to help much. They just delivered the package with a new console, so let's unbox it together right now. The K56 arrived in this box. On the back, you can see the main specs. Let's open it up. Right on top, we have the console itself, but let's put it aside for a moment. As usual, Kinhank includes an SD card reader with a USB port, might be a useful little accessory. You also get a standard USB Type-A to USB Type-C charging cable, a manual, and a small envelope with a screen protector, a nice bonus. Now let's take a closer look at the console itself. I got the white version, but you can also find it in black or blue on AliExpress. In hand, it feels quite bulky. All the buttons are orange, but for some reason, the analog sticks are black. A weird design choice, in my opinion. The back has a textured pattern, though the grip areas don't have any extra coating for comfort. Let's peel off the screen film and take a closer look at this device. It's nice that the console already comes with almost all the necessary emulators and even some games, but I am still copying my own game library and installing my usual apps. Right out of the box, the console is ready to go. It already has multiple launchers to choose from, and practically every retro emulator pre-installed. Basically, you can start playing your favorite retro games right after unboxing. Super convenient. The console is made of matte plastic, but compared to the Mangmi Air X, it feels cheaper. Still, the body is ergonomic and the rounded edges make it comfortable to hold. The only thing I don't like is that it feels kind of hollow inside, like there is too much empty space. Maybe that's just my personal impression. And before we continue, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. It's super important for promoting both the video and the channel. The more likes, views and subscribers we get, the more videos I'll be able to make and share with you, and the more fun and interesting the content will become. Also, don't forget to click the bell icon so you won't miss any new videos. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can hit the hype button. It helps push the video to new audiences and brings even more people into our community. Thanks a ton for your support. Let's continue. Another downside is the build quality. If you look closely, you can spot uneven seams and small gaps. Overall, the materials and assembly feel a bit cheap, clearly an area where they try to cut costs. On the front, we have all the main controls. The buttons are matte plastic and feel a bit toy-like, but they press softly and nicely. The D-pad uses the same plastic and it feels great, very responsive, especially for diagonal inputs. I actually like it a lot. Moving on to the analog sticks, another spot where they clearly save money. They're rubberized, but feel a bit stiff and not as smooth as on competing devices. Also, there is no RGB light in here, in case that's something you care about. The home, back, select and start buttons are located at the bottom. They work fine, but they're very clicky, a bit too loud for my taste. The bumpers feel good and have a nice microclick, but the triggers are disappointing. I wish they were full analog triggers with a deep travel. Instead, they have a very short press with a microclick. Today is the third day of testing this console, and I found a problem. The triggers don't work in Android games. The games just don't recognize them. In Half-Life 2, I tried remapping the controls, but the game doesn't respond to the triggers at all. The same thing happens in GTA Vice City. When I press the trigger, the scooter should start moving, but nothing happens. I tried fixing it using the Mantis Gamepad Pro app, but it didn't help. So keep that in mind if you're considering getting this console. On the top, we've got what look like cooling vents, though there is no fan inside, not sure why they're even there. You'll also find the volume and power buttons. On the bottom, there is an exposed microSD slot, pretty typical for cheaper consoles, a headphone jack and a USB-C charging port. Visually, it really resembles the Mangmi Air X, but when it comes to build quality and materials, you can tell they cut corners everywhere. So yeah, it definitely loses the design battle to other mid-range consoles. Maybe it'll redeem itself with better performance? Let's check. As you can see, in classic Nintendo games and some other systems, there is a decorative bezel around the image. Personally, I'm not a fan of that look, but maybe you'll like it. In Game Boy Color games, the bezel is way too big and distracting, so I turned it off in RetroArch and used the pixel shader for a more authentic feel. For Game Boy Advance, I also disabled the bezel and used a shader that simulates the original console screen much better this way. Games for more demanding systems, like the Nintendo 64 or PlayStation 1, run very smoothly and consistently.
Wow! Wow! Way cool! Groovy!
By the way, this console works very well with Nintendo DS games. You can fit both screens nicely or just display one if you prefer. Now let's move on to PSP games. At max graphics settings, GTA Vice City Stories runs beautifully, no lag, no frame drops. God of War also runs quite stable, even at 2x rendering resolution. So yeah, this console is perfect for PSP games. It's a modern replacement for the original PSP with better visuals. When it comes to GameCube, heavier titles struggle, but lighter ones like Mario Kart run just fine without noticeable drops. As for PlayStation 2, unfortunately, this console just isn't powerful enough. Frame rates rarely go above 20 FPS, making the experience pretty choppy and laggy. Some lightweight Nintendo Switch games run okay, so you might get lucky with a few of them, but don't expect much. As I mentioned earlier, Android-native games like Half-Life 2 still have the trigger issue, which really ruins the experience. The console doesn't get too hot, even after 2 or 3 hours of gameplay, but still, I think active cooling would have been a smart addition.
My God, what are you doing? Raymond?
Welcome to the HEV.
So it's time to wrap things up. Let's quickly go over the pros and cons. On the plus side, comfortable and ergonomic design and soft buttons, an excellent D-pad, good mid-tier performance, and pre-installed software that makes it ready to play right out of the box. On the downside, cheap-feeling materials, average build quality, weak analog sticks, no active cooling, problems with the triggers in Android games, and a slightly high price compared to competitors. Overall, it's a good console for PSP and older retro systems, but I don't think it'll stand out on the market. There are already 2 better and cheaper options out there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I wish you pleasant nostalgia and successful completion of your favorite games.